Hey everyone, Rachel Weaver here. I'm on faculty at Regis University's Mile High MFA program. I'm making a series of videos in which I'm exploring various things that those of us with a background in writing can do out there in the working world. So today, Brooke Garcia is with us. She is a social media specialist. Thanks for being here, Brooke. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for inviting me. Do you want to start with questions, or should I give a little bit of background as to what I do? Or
Yep, some background on what you do for work right now would be awesome.
Okay. So I am currently, my title is a social media strategist. I work for ADL, or the Anti-Defamation League. They're a 100-plus-year-old anti-hate organization, so kind of in the civil rights category. And I lead our national social media team. I'm a part of we're going through some vacancies at the moment, but we will eventually be a team of 4, including our senior director, assistant director, and 2 strategists. So I, day to day, am working through a lot of writing. We publish anywhere from 3 to 10 tweets a day, plus our Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn content. We are a very reactionary organization, especially with what's going on in the world today. Just this morning, there was a Congress representative who is doing some things that we weren't super pleased about. So putting together some rapid response. So there's quick writing, and then there's also some of the long-term writing of thinking through what we might want to share that's relevant for an upcoming holiday, or other pieces of, maybe a marketing event, something like that. So I am writing all of that content and then putting it through our channels to get it approved and make sure we've got it accurate and out to go.
And how does one get started? If somebody is interested in working in the realm of social media, do you have some advice about sort of how to get started? Are there entry-level jobs? Where do we look for those sorts of jobs? That sort of thing.
So my particular journey is not super linear. I ended up in social media for a couple of reasons, but I'm kind of I love collecting careers and degrees. So I was a vet tech for a while, and even in my veterinary background, I managed our social media. So that would have been in like mid 2000s. And then I ended up back in school, which I thought I was going to end up doing pre-vet, and I didn't. I got an anthropology degree and thought, what am I going to do with this? And so went to graduate school for museum studies and history. Which then led me to obviously a museum career, but museum careers are competitive. And so I landed in social media. It was still like a great fit for me. And so I think that's what you're getting at, is that I had these critical skills, critical thinking skills, writing skills, comprehension, and also an interest in making what I could produce or create connect with an audience. And so those were all things that I was learning through, my master's in history or through my museum studies skills. And so it was a natural fit to do that. After years, I did that for over 6 years at the museum and ended up now at ADL. But all that to be said, where can you enter social media? Almost anywhere, I think, is what I'm trying to get at, because I was a vet tech and was doing it on the side for our veterinary clinic. There are lots of internships out there. I will also be a little transparent. Social media as a profession is not as well paid as anyone would like. And so I think that makes turnover a little higher. The burnout is also there because social media is a 24/7 job sometimes. So it's great to get into because there's a lot of entry-level opportunities. I think there's also a lot of opportunities for freelance or even, some pro bono work if you're in a privileged situation and you can offer those skills. I think anyone, any of these small nonprofits are certainly always looking for somebody to help write content. And so that's a great way to kind of just boost your experience and then put yourself onto a platform where you have something. So I think that there's a lot of side and alleys and entries to social media, and then this is a lightning speed industry, and things are changing all the time. So, even somebody that worked in social media 2 or 3 years ago, but then took 2 or 3 years off, isn't as competitive as somebody that's been working in it yesterday. So I think, social media is all kind of an even playing field in some ways.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like there's a lot of flexibility within it, right? You can work full-time, you can work part-time, you can work for yourself, you could work for, have a full-time job at a business.
Right. Yeah, there's all sorts of, once you really get into it and really specialize and give, maybe even figure out maybe your strengths or your interests. There are obviously agencies out there that have whole digital marketing agencies and might even have somebody that specializes in strategy or specializes in particular platforms over the others, whether it's more video production because it's TikTok or Instagram Reels versus something else. So there's lots of ways to then kind of just continue to like work towards, some sort of higher level game. But I even am right now volunteering for the Center for Visual Arts, which is part of MSU Denver. I'm doing some pro bono work for them to kind of organize their strategy and then help them with a style guide and, kind of kickstart some of their copywriting. They rely on a lot of student employment, and so they have a lot of turnover. So I'm trying to give them some kind of outlines and things to think about when you're thinking about brand and voice, which are all things that, I don't have a marketing degree, and these are all things that I've kind of self-taught over the years, but a lot still all go back to like writing and understanding what goes into writing.
Mm-hmm. And how to communicate and connect with the folks that you're trying to connect with. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then my last question would just be, do you have any advice for anyone who's thinking that this is a path that sounds interesting? They, are ready to sort of dive in. What advice would you have as someone who's been working in the industry for a while?
Yeah. So I think one of the things that has always made me a strong social media professional is just I'm a big consumer. So I'm following a lot of I'm on all the platforms. I'm following some of my favorite versions of things so that I can compare and then use my critical thinking to go, interesting that they did this versus this. Interesting that, this voice sounds a little bit more like this. So I'm just consuming a lot so that I then can think about ways to put that back out there. So I think in terms of getting into it, that's like step number one, I think, is just like really surround yourself with this industry and really figure it out in that way. There's also a lot, because it's in social media, there's lots of social media groups out there, or on Twitter, there's a lot of social media. This is like a double influencer in a way where they work in our industry. And so they are tweeting very smart things that make you think about this industry. So I've just surrounded myself kind of with community in that way so that I can learn more and more that is more niche, because it's not something that you can just pick up a book at a library and learn more about social media strategy in that way, since it's moving so fast. So those are like first 2 steps, is just familiarize. And then I would say look into, there's definitely a ton of part-time jobs out there. So if it's something you want to like dip your toe into, especially for smaller businesses in the area like breweries or coffee shops, I see those jobs from time to time. So I would start, kind of just building resume in that way. The other way that I have noticed, if any of you are looking to get into like or journalism or in the news media, there seemed to be this kind of dovetail between working in digital production and social media by way of journalism. So there's lots of kind of, like I was saying earlier, backdoors to social media. So those are all kinds of ways to think about it and think about how to get into this as a career.
Great. Thank you so much, Brooke. I really appreciate you talking to me.
No problem.